I used to do a series called Learning the Hardest Blank Solo. Maybe it's the hardest Megadeth solo, the hardest Metallica solo, the hardest intro of all time. And I thought that title was a little bit misleading just because obviously people would disagree if that indeed was the hardest solo from the specified artist. It also didn't really convey the fact that I learned these guitar solos by ear. No tabs or anything, just old school ear training, and that is where I think the value in these videos lies. It allows me to talk through my thought process, whether it's utilizing music theory or technique recognition, and it also gives me a chance to actually learn these solos if they're not the technically hardest ones. But first, my guitar, it's a little bit dirty. Hold on. The cool thing about a Floyd Rose is if you had to clean under the strings, you just do that very simply. That's nice. Easy access, that's what I'm talking about. And we're back. You see, it's the little things like that that go into making videos for you guys, and sometimes those little things are overlooked by the audience, but they are crucial to creating an awesome end product. Little things like cleaning your guitar and sound quality that really dictate what makes a great video. And that is why I want to thank today's sponsor, TONOR microphones. This is the Q9 USB microphone. It has the condenser mic, the table mounting clamp, the metal shock mount, the pop filter, suspension scissor arm stand. And if you don't want this mic cover, you can use a windscreen that it comes with, and it comes, of course, with the USB cable to plug it into your computer. And the thing I like about this mic is it is plug and play. You just plug it into your computer, it recognizes it instantly. There's no drivers or anything to download. It's just really easy and, as you can tell, high quality sound. Let me tell you how high quality this sound is. It's equipped with a 16mm large diaphragm, wide frequency response, 20 Hz to 20 kHz. And it's just really easy to use. It has an up and down volume button for the mic gain. Thank you to TONOR microphones for sponsoring this video, because I'm surely not able to monetize it because we are using Mr. Steve Vai's track. That's right, Steve, a little ad revenue coming your way. So we are going to tackle my favorite Steve Vai guitar solo, and it is also what I would call his most melodic guitar solo, if I do say so myself. You can disagree, feel free to leave a comment what you think the most melodic Steve Vai guitar solo is, but I'm going to get into why I believe that, and this is also a song that I think doesn't get enough recognition in his catalog of awesome music. It's called Die to Live. In case you're interested what gear I'm using, I have my MT-15 plugged in, and I am using the Rev G3, which is a nice hefty amount of gain to achieve this sultry Steve Vai sound. And we have the Empress Effects reverb for that nice reverb delay washy thing that just makes the guitar so much fun to play. So let's get started. We are going to take it from the top, and I like to learn solos that I already kind of know by ear. I think it's always best to try and learn a guitar solo by ear if you already can kind of sing it in your head. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult if you just hear something for the first time and try and learn it. Equally beneficial, but just takes a little bit longer in my opinion. I can kind of sing this solo in my head, or at least get an idea of where the licks are and the timing and the kind of finesse that goes with each section. So that's a slight advantage, and I recommend you just kind of listen over and over to a solo before you try and learn it. And that way you'll really nail all the little nuances that make it just perfect. And that's also important to point out. You don't have to learn anybody's guitar solo note for note. I actually like to learn guitar solos and put my own spin on them. But every now and then, it can be helpful to kind of put this condition on yourself where, okay, I'm going to nail this note for note, and then you can kind of take liberties with it after you have it down. It's sort of like learning the rules before you break them. So, with that said, let's hear what Steve Vai has to say to us, musically speaking. Classic place to start. That is just like an ascending fifth thing is what that sounds like. You know, that very Vai-ish sound that I kind of associate with him. Those intervallic jumps are very Vai-esque. Let's get those first notes. So it sounds like fifths all in a row. I think it's all fifths, straight up that little run. Now we have to figure out both how many times he's hitting each one and also the finger position that you have to choose, because that's a pretty quick run. So I think that might be the quickest way to get that pull off, put ourselves in a good position, is playing those first three with our first finger. Let's get the rhythm down. I think that's actually going to be easier because trying to do that all with one finger quickly became impossible for me. Now let's see if I can get it with the song. Okay. Sounded like... But it's a rake. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so that sounds like a slide, like blah 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 blah. Yep. Gotta control that vibrato or else you'll fly off the neck. But you gotta get that little punctuation. There's a lot of delayed little exclamations at the ends of his phrases. Like, for example, in that first phrase, you know, that little thing, and then he continues that motif. That little thing, that little period there, it's really fascinating. All right, moving on. Whoa! I actually have learned this lick before, so this is slightly cheating, but I don't really... Hold on, where's the note he starts on? This is a really, probably my favorite Vai tendency here. I'm going to explain in just a sec. Okay. Okay, so this is like an octave displacement. So instead of playing something like... He plays, and that's what this whole phrase is built upon, is that notion of displacing certain notes to an octave above. Yeah, so it's a similar pattern, which makes it a little deceptively easy because you technically don't have to do too much moving linearly. It's a lot of vertical movement, so your fingers kind of have to be little dexterous monkeys, but you're not really moving across a lot of real estate on the guitar neck, which is really hard for somebody with gigantic hands like Steve Vai. My hands are pretty big, but yeah, you just need a lot of independence among these fingers. So we'll have this phrase, and then we have... And how does it end? Ba-no-no. Is it that? Or is it... Oh, that is so... Oh, but I think that might be the easier way to play it. Guitar! You can play the same note in 6 different places! Haha! Great. Okay, let's get back to this. Oh, man. This is the hardest part. Basically, instead of going... He's going to continue that octave displacement idea. Wait, is it an A flat or a G? Or... All right, this is valuable. Getting this note correct is just part of ear training. It is! And that actually makes the phrase easier because, again, it's stacking. It's the same concept here. We have this stacked string skip, but in the same fret. So that's going to make my life easier. If I play it correct. There it is. Now let's see if we can get it up to speed with the recording. Nice. That's easy. I know that lick anywhere. It's always going to be that first position minor pentatonic, and I know we're in this G minor sound here. So, moving along. Okay. Sounds like an open string hammer-on. So many key changes. This is why I think this is such a melodic solo, maybe his most melodic, is because it changes keys every single new passage. It's really hard to string together a solo that feels so fluid when the key is constantly changing like this. It's really masterful. So we go from this open B, and then we do this crazy pinch harmonic, which I'll try my best. The thing about pinch harmonics is they could be played anywhere and kind of achieve that. I don't know what that note is. Like, what is that? Is it just like a slide? Ah. Oh, that was it. It's like a pinch harmonic on this E string. Oh, that's it. Dang, that's cool. All right, moving on. Oh. It's so cool. I mean, he's going along with that opening phrase and coming back to that idea with the fifths. And then another fifth. So he's taking the idea of those running up fifths and he's just repackaging it in this open string thing. It's really neat. Again, keeping in mind what he's actually doing, you know, the actual mechanics of his hand. That's really a great way to break down if you're playing something correctly. If it seems impossible to play, it's probably impossible to play and you're maybe hearing it wrong. So I was initially playing this 12th fret. But it makes way more sense that he's actually just going like this. That's the slide right there. And then he continues the phrase. And then how does this phrase end? Nice little R&B lick there. So, all together. Really got to get those. It's kind of hard because I have 9s on here, I think. I think these are 9s. But I keep pulling this string off the fretboard. I'm also thinking which fingers Steve would use for this part. Something tells me he would use his first finger and middle finger because his fingers are real long. And it just seems that if you can get those first hammer-ons with these two fingers, it makes hitting the 5th above easier because you're kind of stronger in the ring finger than the pinky. So I'm going to try and get it that way. I think that actually is the next note. Sounds diminished to me. No. Hold on. It's augmented, it's not diminished. Because this just wasn't quite lining up. Versus little trick for you. Diminished and augmented triads are actually the same shape everywhere you play them. So for a diminished triad and an augmented triad, the difference is diminished triads are separated by minor thirds, augmented triads are separated by major thirds. Little theory tip for you. This was an augmented triad. That's why it just wasn't quite lining up with my ear. And that feels much better. Again, coming back to the can I play this easily test, that just feels much more ergonomically friendly. And then it sounds like... just feels right to me. We're getting a little bluesy here. Steve Vai always has such cool blues phrases. You know how you get stuck in like... he does something like this. Really nice. Let's see where it goes after that. That phrase by itself is just really nice, and now we're gonna kind of fall down the stairs here. Yeah. Oh, almost. There's a couple notes that he's hitting on those in-betweens that I gotta listen very closely for. So I think he's bending up to the note a half step above and then playing that half step above. That's what it is. Again, I'm looking for the place that it's easy to play. Wow, this is, I know this ending, you know, by ear. I can pick it up pretty quickly, I think. been learning a Steve Vai solo long enough, you can kind of start to get his pick attack. Got some more blues. All right. So the thing with this song is these harmonics, they may sound random, but they're very intentional. The main riff of this song has this really cool part. So cool. Really awesome sound there. So I'm suspecting you could like tab out these harmonics and find them exactly in between these 5th and 3rd frets. I'm going to do my best, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. There we go. Oh. Oh. So I think that's pretty close. All right, I'm gonna go with that. That at least sounds close. Let's see if I can put this whole thing together, shall we? Well, there you have it, guys. Learning a Steve Vai solo by ear. It's one of my favorites, and I'm glad that I got to sit down with it. I've been on kind of a bit of a Steve Vai binge since he put out Candle Power a few weeks ago. And, well, leave a comment if you have a suggestion for another solo you'd like me to learn by ear. I'm all ears. Thanks a lot to TONOR Microphones for sponsoring today's video, and until next time.